Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be talking about how to implement building placement for an RTS game. We'll briefly cover how to make the UI, how to set up the building scenes, and write all of the code that snaps the building to the terrain and highlights it either green or red, depending on whether the building placement is good. What's not included in the tutorial is the good coding fundamentals that you need to succeed in game development, and our today's sponsor Brilliant can help with that. With thousands of interactive lessons in math, science, programming, and AI that Brilliant offers, you can learn something useful and get smarter every day. What's really cool about it is that you're not only learning, but also using this knowledge right away in hands-on problem solving that lets you play with the concepts. All of this is proven by research to be 6 times more effective at helping you retain what you just learned than just watching lecture videos. And with a perfect mix of engaging problems and competitive features, you'll stay motivated and on track. Aspiring game developers need a strong coding foundation, and Brilliant's updated programming courses are an ideal solution. They build essential skills, provide real-world application experience, and teach you how to think like a programmer. So if this sounds like something that can help you achieve your goals, you can try Brilliant for free for 30 days using my referral code, as well as get 20% off on an annual premium subscription once you see the benefits. Let's quickly get up to speed with what I'm starting out with. I have a simple low poly terrain with some building models scattered around, all covered in my low poly terrain tutorial, and I have a general RTS camera, which is covered in my camera tutorial. Links to both can be found in the video description and at the end of this video. The first thing that we're going to need to implement these placeable buildings is the UI at the bottom. To get the icons for the buildings that we're using from K-Kit's Medieval Pack, I opened them in Microsoft 3D Viewer. This program allows us to set up the model in a specific perspective view and then export that as a PNG file. Once we have these icons, we can hop on over to Godot to work on the UI. We'll create a new scene with a control node as the root and then add an item list as a child. In the column section, make sure we have 3 columns, and then in the item section, add 3 items and our image files as the icons for these items. Then resize the item list so it can properly display all of our icons. To anchor it to the bottom of the screen, we are going to click on the anchor dropdown and select bottom center. The last thing I want to do here is offset it a little bit so it's not on the very edge of the screen. To do that, we are going to go into the layout section and change our anchor preset to custom so we can manually change some parameters. In anchor offsets, set the bottom offset to -12 pixels and then readjust the height of the bar. At the moment, the user interface node is taking up the whole screen and is assuming that it should handle all of the user input. So we'll pop into the mouse settings and change the filter from stop to pass. After that, we're just quickly gonna save our scene and then add it to the game. Testing it out, we can select any of the buildings by clicking on them in the UI. Our next step here is going to be setting up the scene for the building that we're going to spawn. Start off with a node 3D and then drag the model file into the scene. Make local the node that we get from it and just clean up so we only have the mesh left. We're going to add 2 more things here. An area 3D to track collisions with other buildings, and 4 raycasts to validate placement on the terrain. The collision shape for the area 3D can be whatever you want, just depends on how much spacing you want between your buildings. After that, let's add the raycasts. Like I said, we're going to need 4 of them, and the placement on these is going to be a bit more important. They need to be at the 4 sides of the building, and their origins have to be at the highest point we want the terrain to ever reach on the building. In this case, I don't want the terrain to go past the point where the foundation angles off, so I'm going to keep the raycasts under it. The raycasts should also extend only to the bottom of the building, so we'll set the target position for all of them to -0.18y in this case, which will ensure that when we're trying to place a building and any of these raycasts are not touching the ground, we won't be able to do it. After that, we're just going to save the scene and do the exact same thing for the other buildings that we want to be able to place. The next step here is setting up the code. So let's go back to our user interface scene and attach a script to it. We're going to start by loading our building scenes into variables so we can instantiate them when we need to. Then define some variables, one for the camera that we'll get from our viewport in the ready function, an instance variable to hold the building that we are currently placing, a placing boolean to track when we're trying to place a building, a range variable with an arbitrary large value that will make sense in a little bit, and finally we'll get our item list and an onReady variable. Then we want to select the item list in the tree so it can tell us when the player picked one of the buildings to place. For that, we're going to go into the node menu and connect the item selected signal to this code. Depending on the index of the item selected, we are then able to instantiate the appropriate building scene. We want to keep track of when we start placing the building, so we'll set the placing variable to true and then add the building as a child of the main scene. And the ready function will assign our current camera to the camera variable that we created. And then let's move on to the process function where we'll track the position of the mouse and move the building that we spawned towards it. First, we are going to check if we're trying to place a building, and then we are going to get the 2D coordinates of our mouse position on the screen. The way that we're going to figure out where on the terrain the mouse is pointing at is by casting a ray from the camera. So we will get the starting point for this raycast. If we're using the perspective camera mode, which is the default for 3D cameras in Godot, we can just get the global camera position here. That wouldn't work for orthographic cameras though, which some strategy games like to use because they don't have a single point of origin. So we have to use this function, which will work for both camera modes. To figure out the ending point for the raycast, we are going to take the origin point and add a unit vector pointing towards the direction of the mouse, multiplied by the length that we want our raycast to be. So this project ray normal function gives us a normalized vector pointing at the target. It's got nothing to do with normals. We can then use the ray origin and ray end to create a raycast by passing them to the physics ray query parameters 3D singleton, and then once we have that ray, we can figure out what it collides with in our 3D world by first getting the 3D world from the camera, because the user interface is a 2D node and it doesn't have access to that information, and then calling the intersect ray function and passing it our raycast. If the raycast doesn't collide with anything, the resulting collision is going to be null, so we can use this variable as a boolean. And if it does collide with something, we want to move the building to the collision position. So all of that is going to allow us to pick a building from our list. The game's going to spawn it for us and we can move it around. The main problem at the moment is that when we try to switch between buildings, the game automatically places it. So let's fix that and then move on to actually placing the buildings. In the code where we select buildings, we're going to add a check for if we're already placing a building. And in that case, we are just going to get rid of the instance that we're currently holding in hand onto the code that checks if we can place a building. We are going to attach a script to one of the building scenes. Starting off with the variables, we are going to load all of the raycasts in a single array. Then we want to add an export variable array for the meshes, which will allow us to select all of the meshes for a particular building in the editor and then change their material depending on whether they can or cannot be placed. I am doing this because some of the buildings that I'm working with have multiple meshes, and I want to be able to reuse this code for all of them. To assign the meshes to this array, we are going to go to the meshes property of the node that the script is attached to and click add element for each mesh that we have. Assign the meshes and we are set. Back to the code, we are going to add an onReady variable for the area 3D. Here, we're also going to want to load the materials that we'll use for the building to communicate whether we can place it. So let's go ahead and create those. Going back to the 3D view, select the mesh and in the material override parameter in the geometry section, create a new standard material. When we're placing the building, we want the mesh to be partially transparent, so go into the transparency settings and set the transparency mode to alpha. Depth draw mode to always if you have other transparent materials in the scene like me, and then change the color and the alpha of the material. After that, save the material so we can load it later in the script, and repeat the process for a green material. Then we can get rid of the material override for now and load these up in our code. Then we can start on two functions, one for turning our building red and one for turning our building green. For both of these, we are going to iterate over the mesh array that we created, and for each mesh, we are setting the material override to one of the preloaded materials. That's the function for the red material, and this is the function for the green material. Next is a function that actually checks whether we can place our building and calls one of the other functions to assign materials. What we need to do here is check whether the terrain is flat enough by making sure that all of the raycasts are colliding with the terrain. Iterate over our raycast array, and if any of the raycasts are not colliding, that means that the building cannot be placed there and the red material has to be assigned, and we return false. This function is going to be called in our UI node to keep track of whether we can place the building, so the Boolean return value is going to be useful. The other thing that we need to check for is other buildings. For that, the Area 3D has a get overlapping areas function, and if it returns anything at all, that means that the spot is taken by another building, and we need to turn it red and return false again. Finally, if neither of these conditions trigger, that means that our building placement is okay, and we're good to turn the building green and return true. Now we are ready to go back to the UI script and implement the building placement code. We do want to check whether we can place the building every frame and keep track of the result, so we'll start by adding a canPlace Boolean variable. To update this variable, we are going to go down to the process function and the part where we know that our mouse is pointing at terrain, and call the check placement function that we made right before on our current building instance. So now we know when we are able to place the building, we just need to get input from the player and lock the building in. We are going to do this in the unhandled input function, checking for when the player left clicks while the building is placeable. Set our placing and canPlace variables to false and call the placed function on the building instance, which we'll write in a second in the other script. Finally, we want to deselect the chosen building from the item list because it's highlighted when we pick a building to place. Going over to the building script, we'll write the placed function, which will set all of our material overrides to null to revert the building colors to normal, and then go through the raycast array to get rid of all of them because we don't need to use the raycasts once the building is placed. With that done, we can now place the buildings and they get highlighted either red or green depending on whether our placement is good. Still not fully happy with it because in some cases it seems like the terrain is even enough for the building to be placed, but not all the raycasts are registering a collision, so the building is highlighted red. So I'm going to go back to the building scenes and lower the default height of where the buildings are placed. At the moment, the origin of the scene is almost at the very bottom of the building, so if we lower the mesh along with the raycasts, this should give us a little bit more leeway with how far down the terrain can go from our central point. And that gives us a lot more flexibility with where we are able to place our building. Obviously, for most RTS games, the terrain is going to be a lot more flat, so it will be a non-issue. But there's a second part to this tutorial available to my subscribers on Patreon, where we add building alignment with the terrain, as well as building rotation. Link to that, as well as to the source code of the project, will be down in the description. If you enjoyed the tutorial, don't forget to leave a like, and I'll see you in the next one.